I, too, did want to get to Amin's Lakers-Nuggets thoughts. I did also want to laugh for a moment at Stephen A. Smith and at Tony because,
What?
yeah, well, you're a pioneer, Tony, evidently. Because
what else is new, Dan?
You will recognize here in Stephen A.'s move that he is grifting off you and he is stealing from you. In that, they called him out the other day on saying there was no way in hell the Lakers would beat the Warriors. And when they called him out on it, his response was, I don't recall saying that.
Nice.
Pro move. Or you can blame AI now. That's the move that I've kind of pivoted off of just me not saying it. It was AI said it. They put a deep fake into it. They put a deep fake. They said a bunch of things that I didn't say. Obviously, I'm wearing my Heat hat. I'm very excited about our team.
What are we doing journalistically when Stephen A. Smith is cheering and rooting on the Knicks, and then when asked about his opinion, because Stephen A. brings up his journalistic bona fides quite a bit, he's different than everyone else, and I don't recall doing that when everyone saw you on television make a prediction.
It's embarrassing how much he cheers.
Didn't he say he threw up watching a Knicks game?
Vomited.
You know what's funny? It's a bit much. I don't think it's authentic. And the reason why I say this, I remember years ago, like when they drafted Porzingis, like he went on this rant. He was actually on vacation, I want to say. He came off.
He's always coming back from vacation or something.
He came back from vacation to get on just to trash the Knicks for that pick, right? That was authentic, I felt like. Now it's like every day, like, Stephen A., what do you think about the Knicks? It's like, oh, these Knicks, why are they doing this to me? But then when they win, it's like, I told you, the orange and blue. Like, it feels performative.
Well, it doesn't feel performative. It is performative. He's a wrestling heel. But what's been fun to watch, and this has been great, is Emmanuel Acho trying to figure out how to learn from the knee of the performative Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. Smith, he does it in a way that I think feels more authentic to people. Acho is trying to impersonate it.
I don't know if Acho's doing an impersonation of Stephen A. Smith.
No, he's doing an impersonation of Acho.
Yes, he's absolutely doing
What
that.
does Stephen A. throwing up like sound like?
Oh, well.
Oh, God.
I thought I would end my night with a delightful pint of salted caramel ice cream. But then
then he gets up and trade Julius Randle. And also, you tell me what is fair play about him also saying of the Clippers, you need to force Kawhi to retire. Like, I'm not even sure what that is as commentary. You need to force Kawhi Leonard to retire.
Look, all I'm saying, I know Ty Lue very well. He's a very good friend of mine. And I told him the other day, I said, Ty, Kawhi.
Again with the microphone breaking.
I'll do this.
It's flaccid.
That was somebody else's fault.
Yes.
What about if Doc Rivers threw up? This is just fun to make a mean do this.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was going to do Acho, but he wanted to do Stephen A. Smith.
I'd rather do
He's going to do Obama.
I want to do Acho because it's a new one. Like, I don't. It's not a new one. I've workshopped it several times. And here's the thing. Like, I know Acho a little bit. I think he's a good guy. But I think the pandemic, what happened to him during the pandemic is kind of like what happened to John Morant over the last couple of years, right? It's like you do something and you get incredibly, insanely popular in a way that he wasn't before. And popular among people who weren't necessarily sports fans, right? Because he had his Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man series. And
he sat down with Oprah.
And
Oprah knighted him as a sports commentator by simply opening a window to her world.
Yep, and that stuff is big, and that stuff will change you. And for him, it changed him, and I think it made him want to be someone who is an inspiration. And unfortunately for us, Acho's version of inspiring people is talking like this, always delivering as if there is a kernel of truth that has incredible depth to it, Dan Le Batard. But oftentimes, the deepest kernels are the ones on the surface level, and we just don't look at them.
It's a good Acho.
He also outweighs me by 150 pounds. So
well, but see, you're being delicate.
Physically, I can't.
And you limped in with, and I like him as a person.
Hey, I do.
But he's faking it on television.
I think Dan
Are
Le
we
Batard.
all?
Aren't we all, Dan?
I'm not faking it.
Neither
I don't know
am
what
I.
you're
Keep it
talking about.
gangster every day.
What are you doing?
You don't want to tempt me to start talking about the Heat again. None of you do.
Please, no.
So let's talk about Brett Favre.
Why didn't we just say yes about the Heat? Damn it.
Could have talked about the Heat.
I
Yeah.
thought Jimmy did a great job last night, guys. I mean, playoff Jimmy's back. Am I right? I don't know. What else are you supposed to say about the Heat?
White hot.
Culture.
Let me tell you something.
Why didn't he call a timeout in the third quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
Mike Scher was on.
Oh, man.
Last night he was inconsolable.
Let me tell you something.
He didn't watch.
He was hiding from the game.
Yeah.
He's a coward, and I haven't seen him today and haven't heard from him today, and suddenly unavailable today.
I reached out,
correct?
nothing back.
Yeah, of course. Hiding in the shadows, terrified, screaming
Fraud.
from behind the mountains, terrified. I told you I was right to be afraid of them. Please stop making fun of me. I'm afraid of my sports. I can't watch the games. All I want to ask him, I want to call him and simply ask him, can you tell me what your face looked like when you opened the app? When you got whatever the information was and you're like, oh, no, 120, they scored 120. Oh, my God, what happened?
I wish he was watching it live, and I was watching him watch it live, so I could see the look on his face when Jimmy Butler hit that three. The one that trickled around and dropped. Oh my God.
Shooter's touch on that one.
Oh, my God.
I think he was watching Scandival.
He for sure watched the game last night. What do we believe in here?
Not to throw everything in a loop, but I want to workshop a new segment here. Amin reads Acho tweets.
No. Transition.
I mean, if you want to keep working this impersonation, I think
It was pretty good.
everybody would welcome it over Heat Talk, I assure you.
Don't turn a blind eye to John Morant's behavior now, then cry out, we should have done something if tragedy strikes. Punish John now in order to modify his future behavior. The craziest truth in the NBA is that you get punished more for going and losing than not going at all. LeBron will be shamed for this fabulous season if he doesn't win it all. It's asinine.
Do you believe that what's happening here is he thinks he is imparting a wisdom no one else has?
Let's not make John Morant's situation a race issue. It's not. It's a stupidity issue.
He lost $39 million the first time it happened because of all NBA voting.
Dear Joel Embiid, the person who said this is an NBA champion. The person who said this brought his franchise their first championship in 50 years. The person who said this had 38 and 20 in his elimination game. Don't borrow Giannis's quote unless you borrow his heart as well. Now that's a tweet, ladies and gentlemen. Let's break that down for a second. First and foremost, he could have just said it. No. He starts it, Dear Joel Embiid. He's writing a letter, a missive, if you will, like Civil War soldiers, right? In a Ken Burns documentary. My dearest Clara, right? He starts every sentence with the person who said this, right? Because Joel Embiid said, like someone said, it's not a failure, it's a step to success. So he points out the person who said this, then brings up a whole bunch of stuff that's basically because Giannis won a championship. He's allowed to say this. In Dan's words, if Durant had a longer toenail, yep, then Giannis wouldn't be able to say these words. Which, by the way, when he said them, Acho called it fascinating and inspiring. Right? So then he goes on to end it with, don't borrow Giannis's quote unless you borrow his heart as well. What does that mean? What does that mean? How can you borrow someone's heart?